It is a cold, hard business. Only the best will play. And if you're not playing well enough, they're going to look for someone else. Now, the issue with the Texans isn't that Deshaun Watson can't play well. It's that Watson wants out, and because of 22 pending civil complaints, 10 criminal complaints, an FBI investigation that is very vague and murky, because of those things, the Texans aren't able to trade him for what they want. They don't want to play him. He doesn't want to play. General Manager Nick Caserio, meeting with reporters, addressed the situation. Here's what he had to say.
I'm going to say the last thing, I know we talked about this at the start of training camp as well as it pertains to Deshaun's situation. What I would say about that is really no different than what we talked about at the beginning of training camp. Each day, we're going to make the decision that we feel is best. I would say, again, it's a one-step process. Deshaun's been here every day. He's been in training camp every day. He's been in the building. He's been in meetings. He's been around his teammates. And again, we're going to take it one day at a time. I'm not going to get into a lot of speculation about what has happened, what didn't happen. It's a waste of everybody's time, quite frankly. I think there's more important things to talk about. So, again, we're going to take it one day at a time. We're going to do what we feel is best for our team and organization. And, again, I would say there's no finite answer. There's no definitive answer here at this point, and that's how we're going to handle it.
He said we're going to take it a day at a time. David Culley, the coach of the team, said it's a day-to-day type of a situation. The thing about that, I think that what they're trying to do, and this is kind of informed speculation, kind of an educated guess, they got to keep Deshaun on board with this. And I know that Deshaun has no place to complain about the predicament he finds himself in because his behavior created whatever he ultimately is found to have done by a judge, a jury, the NFL, or anyone else. His behavior, his choices, his habits have created this mess. So it's kind of hard for anyone to say that, oh, wow, I feel bad for Deshaun. He's caught in this spot. Well, he's going to make $10.5 million this year to be caught in the spot. He's not going to have to play for a team he doesn't want to play for, but he's being prevented from continuing his career. And again, his behavior is one of the major reasons why he's being prevented. But we saw the flash of frustration from him a couple of weeks ago when he's coming off the practice field and he was met. How dare you film me as I walk? How dare you? And that's what I think they're trying to do, is maintain with Watson the idea that it's coming. It's coming. It's day to day. It's one day at a time. Deshaun, we got to take this one day at a time. And one of these days is going to be the day. One of these days will be the day that we do it. But you just got to be patient with us. We're taking it a day at a time. I feel like that's why we're hearing that kind of message both from Culley and from Caserio. They're trying to keep Deshaun on board with this. And it's not like he's going to do Terrell Owens' shirtless driveway sit-ups or get Drew Rosenhaus on the front lawn and say, next question, next question, next question.
Yeah.
But I think they're trying to keep Deshaun on board.
Yeah, they don't need him to make it any harder on the whole subject here.
And let me take it a step farther.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because what they plan to do, and this is good. This is why I like doing this show with you, Chris. 2 hours for you and me to shoot the breeze or something else every morning. Here's Deshaun's best leverage. Deshaun's best leverage is to go to the Texans and say, you know what? I'm ready to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put me in, coach.
Right.
I'm ready to play.
Right.
Okay? Because they don't want to do that. They don't want to play him now because they're determined to trade him. They're determined to move on. You play him and he gets hurt, hop, there goes the trade value for Deshaun Watson. He tore his ACL as a rookie. And he plays a very physical and at times reckless, loose style. If he wants to force this to a head, his play is to go to the team and say, hey, wait a minute. You can't. I'm on the roster. You can't deactivate me every week. You can't. You cannot. That was one of the Terrell Owens rules that was worked into the CBA in 2006. You can't just say you're on basically a paid suspension.
Right.
Now, it may force the NFL to put him on paid leave, but that's the thing that he could do to upset the apple cart now if he would choose to do it. Say to the Texans, you know what? I'm ready to play some football.
We had this conversation, I feel like maybe 3 weeks ago or whatever, where we said, like, what happens if he does do that? What happens if he comes out and does say that? I know. I mean, I agree with you. That would certainly change the dynamic of the situation. But I mean, as it looks right now, it looks like, at least to me, that Deshaun doesn't want to do that. He's probably thinking a little bit like what you're thinking. Like, wait, I don't want to go out there and get hurt. I don't like the way this team looks. I don't like the direction the team's going either. And I don't want to be out there because he knows maybe himself that, man, when the game gets close, I'm going to be reckless and crazy and try to win the damn football game. And I would think that's maybe part of the reasoning. But I have thought of that scenario many a times. Like, what happens if he just goes, wait, I'm here. You're paying me money. I want to play. Like, sorry, Tyrod Taylor. Then what do they do? So that's where it would get really interesting. But it doesn't seem we're down that road quite yet.
And the reality is, there's a difference between making that move on the chessboard and actually following through. Because if you read the situation as the moment I start making noise about wanting to play, is that the moment that they say, well, we want 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks, but we can't keep this guy off the field. He's making noise that he wants to play.
Yeah.
It's football season. What do football players do during football season?
They play
football.
Yeah.
And it's easy for Deshaun Watson to have this posture of, I'm not playing for the Texans from January to February, March, April, May, June, even training camp, because it's not football then. Preseason, it's not real football. The real football is coming. They got the Jaguars week 1. He wants to play football. He sees the teams that he would maybe be inclined to play for, like the Dolphins, moving forward with someone that he believes is lesser than him. I can help this team win. If they struggle, my point is, There is a chip that he can play here. There's a move that he can make that could put the Texans in checkmate. And that may be what they are trying to avoid. And that may be why they're creating this immediacy, day to day, one day at a time. Deshaun, just bear with us here. It's one day at a time. It's one day at a time. And they've done a good job of keeping the cards close to the vest.
Right.
But that whole one day at a time thing suggests to me that they need to keep Deshaun Watson on board with this plan.
Well, you're right. And that's where I go to sometimes a little bit of like, is there an agreement here right now? Do the Texans know that if Watson says I'm going to play, then the NFL's going to step in and go, no, you're not. And now your trade value goes down right now, this second, at least for this part of the year. Maybe it comes back up again after the year. But if he does that, then okay. Oh, well, we wanted to trade him, but now the NFL is definitely saying he can't play this year or the next 8 games or whatever it is, however long they want to keep him on the, commissioner exempt list or whatever the hell they want to call it. That would hurt his trade value at this moment too. So that's where I got to think there's some common agreement here to like what you're saying between the two sides. Like, hey, Deshaun, you be quiet. Don't say anything. Don't screw this up for us. And we'll try to get you out of here and do it the right way for us too and make it all work.
The flaw in that, though, is that if the league would mobilize to put Deshaun on paid leave, the commissioner exempt list, if all of a sudden he wants to play for the Texans, why would they not do the same thing if the Texans trade?
Yeah, that's right, too. I know. You're right.
Because at that point he's going to be playing.
Yes.
So, we've speculated that maybe there's a wink nod that from the league's perspective, hey, if you're just going to pay this guy to not play, we don't have to put him on paid leave and create a news cycle and get a bunch of requests for interviews and statements and comments, and it's going to be the top story on every website and newspaper and TV show and radio show. Let's just not put him on paid leave.
Yeah.
If that's what they're holding back and why they're waiting, it's going to happen if he gets traded, and I'd like to think that the team that would trade for him, I'd like to think the league would share the details of the wink nod arrangement before they step into it and give the Texans all this stuff, and they can't use Deshaun Watson because the trade becomes the catalyst for Deshaun Watson to be put on paid leave.
Yeah.
All right. I enjoyed that.
That was good.
It was good.
Yeah. I mean, I think we hit every angle or possibility that could at least shake out for sure.
And it helped me visualize how I want to push this forward. I want to write something, and I will after the show, and we'll use the video from our discussion to make this point that I think the Texans at some level have to be concerned about Deshaun Watson showing up one day and saying, I'm ready to play football. And that could be the thing that pushes them to take it from one day at a time to today is the day that we move on.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.